everybody, and welcome to this special invitation video that we have decided to put together here at quantumplанthealing.com to share a little bit more about the upcoming Rainbow Bridge journey that we have been guided at this very powerful time to put out. Really and truly, this journey is, I guess, a couple of years in the making, but particularly really has come together off the back of the last 3 years that we've all been experiencing, and the various, let's just say, side effects, physically, emotionally, and spiritually that we have all really had to experience as part of the process. And we wanted to put this together because, well, for a number of reasons, really. And so, really and truly, I want to start at the beginning a little bit and just to give some background. So the Rainbow Bridge journey is a 13-day shamanic ceremonial process that takes place working with both Mayan magic, quantum plant intelligence, and actual plant medicine to help each and every one of the participants go on this journey to not only cleanse the field of really any unhelpful toxins, energies, magics, we can even say, attachments, and many other side effects, including potential energetic side effects of the phenomenon known as shedding, which is kind of prevalent in our world at the moment. So this journey will not only get rid of all of those elements from the field, the element of working with the plants with a special detox blend of herbal medicines that my good friend and buddy and co-host on Whether We're Pete Jackson Mayan has put together. We'll be working with him as one of the teachers and healers on this journey, utilizing his very profound knowledge and wisdom of plants. So there's also going to be a physical detoxing, which is important. You know, when we're cleansing and detoxing ourselves, we really have to start work at the energetic level first, because that's where everything starts. And then if we leave it too long and we don't address it in the energetic world, it's going to get into our bodies and it's going to cause physical discomfort, or maybe worse. And for sure, you know, when we even have a slight sense that maybe something is coming into our physical body, then the more aware we are, the more we can actually deal with that and repel it or remove it before it enters the physical body. This is an important part of the transition, really, I think, to becoming homoluminescent beings, or hollow mind perceivers, cosmic humans, 5D consciousness beings, or even just multi-dimensional beings in a 3D body. That is where we're all heading to right now. But as a group of healers here at Quantum Plant Healing, particularly myself and my partner Bella, you know, we've been bringing different modalities into the mix for a while now with our tribe at Quantum Plant Healing. Through the immersions we've been doing and through various protocols and procedures that we've released in the form of the Quantum Plant Upgrade, and also the Magic and Manifestation Workshop is really working with this energy. So this really is a process that's designed to get you not only clean and clear, but also into a very centered and aligned space that's really going to allow you, if you're not already, and I think that we all already are really anyway, to connect to your higher self, to particularly your fifth dimensional non-dual awareness, the eagle's perch, as many of us have been calling it for a while now. And the beauty of being in that eagle's perch position is that we get to be free, and I mean that you know, in the tightest sense of the word, we get to be free of our emotions. And when we get to be free of our emotions, we get to be free of the triggers that can be put onto our emotion, particularly those lower frequency emotions that can cause us suffering. So, you know, a lot of this trick is really about how to become 5D beings playing a 3D, 4D game here down in the beautiful green, glorious splendor of Mother Earth. And for many years, you know, for not many years, but probably for several millennia, we've been playing the game with somebody else in charge of the rule book. And now many of us are realizing that through working with Mayan magic, astrology, plant medicine, and most of all with a really strong connection to our higher selves, that we can be the people who now create new Earth. We don't have to look and wait for somebody else to show us the way with their rules and regulations. Of course, Pluto is about to move back into Capricorn to finish that collapse of the old paradigm with the great wrecking ball that Pam has been talking about on her astrology shows. And that really, when we understand at an astral level what is happening in our world, we can understand that there is an energetic collapse taking place, which maybe is a little scary, but also, you know, in the energies that we have right now with South Node in Scorpio, you know, we are letting go of the past. We're letting go of the all of the energies that Scorpio has from the past, the lower notes, particularly around medications, financial systems, power, abuse of power, misuse of power, all of those things. They have no place in the new earth that many of us are already actively creating. And of course, that requires a lot of inner work and looking at shadow, which is why we're going to be working so thoroughly and deeply with particularly our friends from the Artemisia clan, but in conjunction with many other plants that are going to not only help us to detox the energy field, but bring into our awareness any shadow that is still there. And there are going to be other herbal plants in the brew, and actually other ingredients too along the way that we're going to introduce to help you detox the body, and also detox really out your own south node in Scorpio. We do have Pluto squaring the nodes at the moment, and so the astrology is a big part of what's going on. And this Rainbow Bridge has been put together by myself and Bella and all of our allies, particularly the plant spirits that we work with, but also other higher dimensional beings, particularly from the angelic realm, to take people on a journey that, whether they have had any of the offered medications in the last 3 years or not, we're going to be catering to both. So for those people who have had some of the offered medications, there is going to be a full energetic ceremonial process that we're going to take you through step by step so that you can reverse the effects of those offered medications on certainly the energetic level and the spiritual level, and then depending on how much effect there is in the physical level, then that will start to filter down there too. I talked to the Ascended Master Zachariah some time ago, in fact over a year ago now, about the process that I had been given by the plants in my meditations that then has been incorporated into various other aspects that we've introduced through the immersions and the protocols at QPH since. And he advised me that there would be a point when this would start to become more readily received by the collective. But he also made a very, very strong point to me, which I totally understand, because this is quantum and it's to do with intention, is that we have to want to become embodied multidimensional beings here in the 3D realm, because if we don't, then what are we doing here? And maybe there are many of you out there asking yourself that question right now, and at the center of all of this are two major questions for each and every one of us humans, which is, who am I? Who am I really? Not who have I been told that I am, or who do I think I am, but who am I really? And what the hell am I doing here right now? So some of us have already have that idea. We've been working for many years. We have a clear idea. We're very connected to our allies and our guides, and we're here to help show others a pathway through this. And that is what the Rainbow Bridge is all about. It's a pathway to connecting to your new earth consciousness, activating your new earth consciousness, or really becoming much more aware of what is your 4D body and what is your 5D awareness, we can say. These are all aspects of ourselves that are all going on at the same time. It's just really a case of whether we're aware of them or not. And this journey is going to help bring further awareness to those aspects of yourself that maybe you feel that you're not connected to, but maybe you already are and just don't realize it. At the end of the day, our gut instinct, our intuition, is really a direct message from ourselves to either do something or not do something. So when we think about it like that, we can probably all realize that we've had intuitions or gut instincts about things, and maybe we followed on them and maybe we didn't, and maybe accordingly the results turned out certain directions. So we all have that connection to our higher self, and what this journey is going to do is bring more awareness to that, and to bring each and every one of you into the present moment, which is really where we actually only reside. It's, when we think about things in the future or the past, we're projecting out of the present moment into other situations that have either already happened or may never happen. And when we do that, of course, it's useful. Sometimes we have to plan things, not least of all journeys and immersions and YouTube videos and stuff. But in between all of that, certainly myself and Bella, we try to live in the present moment as much as possible, because that's where the real creativity is. And when we get into the creative space, what we are really doing is getting into the higher mind space. And the way to do that is through here, through this beautiful organ in here, the heart, because the heart is our 3D organ of perception that allows us to connect to our higher mind consciousness. This beauty here, the third eye, is actually better at really seeing into the astral plane, but can also be prone to being tricked or influenced or manipulated, especially if we're not fully conscious of what is us and what is not us. And that's another part of this journey. We're going to be really getting you into a space of alignment in yourself, in your central column, connected to all of your chakras, connected to your higher self, connected to Mother Earth, and most of all connected deep inside to yourself, and to particularly this vessel here, the heart, because it is where we're going to be able to connect directly to our higher mind consciousness. This journey is open for everybody, whether you've had the medications or not. If you haven't, then great, but this process is going to help you, maybe to help friends and family who have, or maybe there's going to be elements of this that are going to help you anyway, particularly the detoxing and the connections to the plants and various meditations that we're going to be taking everybody through. Across the course of the 13 days, there will be a series of pre-recorded transmissions from myself, from Bella, and many of the amazing teachers and healers that we're going to be working with. First of all, taking us through a cleansing, healing process, and then various meditations that are going to get us into a state of present awareness in the moment, but also asking many deep questions of ourselves, because that is part of the journey to New Earth, and our higher self is deeply questioning what choices we've made at various points in our life and why, and particularly maybe those over the last 3 years. And in the space that we're in, there is no judgment about anything. We are healers and we're here to help, and we have information and techniques that have been given to us by high dimensional beings, particularly the plants over the last 3 years, who really want to share this now. Maybe for the first time we feel that we're able to share this a bit more publicly. There is a lot more information you can find out over at quantumplанthealing.com on the Rainbow Bridge link, and also I did a wonderful and I think very inspiring video with a lovely lady called Becca Hotop, who's a healer, who came to me asking for help after she had a not so pleasant experience with one of the medications and needed some help. So it's a very, very inspiring story. She shares many of her own choice points and why she made certain decisions in that video. The link will also be available in the show notes, but you can also find that on the page over at quantumplанthealing.com. That video, I think, is a story that should hopefully resonate with many out there, because it's, I think, a very familiar story for many of us. So along with the transmissions will also be a series of live calls at the beginning, middle and end of the process to help hold the space, to open it, to close it, but also to check in and to hold space and to take questions and answers. Every single part of this journey is recorded, so even if you're not able to necessarily join each and every day across the 13 days for the live calls or whatever, the recordings will be there. So this is also a journey that you can take somewhat at your own pace. Although, as always with these journeys, we're going to be working very, very deeply with Mayan magic. We nearly always do these journeys now over 13 days to coincide with a Mayan wave spell, and the one that we're going to be working with from the 13th of June is the magnetic monkey, which is really calling in the energies of magic, innocence, the inner child, and also, of course, healing with that. So it makes a lot of sense that we want to be working with that creative part of us to reconnect, to magnetize, draw to our inner child the creativity that we naturally had as children, and didn't feel, that we had to explain to everybody. As kids we pick up a pen and we draw a picture, and we're happy with it, and that's that. As we get older, we seem to find reasons not to do these things and deny ourselves the opportunity to be in our creativity. So there's going to be a lot of creative energy brought into this immersion, because first of all it's fun and gets us into a happier place, but also that's where we can really start to connect with our dreams. And when we connect with our dreams, we're really connecting with the plan or the blueprint that our higher self has already organized for us before we incarnate. If we're not sure about any ideas about how that works, I would suggest taking a look at your natal astrological birth chart, because that is the blueprint that we come with. And interestingly, alongside this journey of the Rainbow Bridge, we've also just launched and going to be starting on the same day, somewhat in tandem, although they're both in their own ways completely separate, another special 13-part journey called the Stellar Nations. Now, the Stellar Nations works with fixed star astrology and our natal birth chart, but I would just like to really just introduce that here, because what I've experienced through working with this, since I've done many of the protocols recently that we're introducing into the into the Rainbow Bridge journey, the information about what was I doing before I incarnated, what was my soul up to before I became Davyd in this life, what was I doing before I was a human being in this earthly realm. Well, that information is contained in our Antares Stellar Nations codes, and that can be worked out by using our natal birth charts and an incredible volume of work that was channeled by two lovely ladies in Hungary over a decade ago. So more information also about that in the show notes, but I wanted to introduce it because when we understand what we were doing before we came here and what our astrology is trying to transform for us, it actually becomes a lot easier because we understand there's a much bigger picture that we, nobody else really, but we designed for ourselves. And maybe sometimes we're not sure why our life is so hard or why certain things go a certain way. But as my angelic guides often tell me, David, it's just you doing it to you, buddy. So ask yourself why. So not always the easiest of places to sit, but actually really, really important because we do really should ask ourselves why we do things. Why do we make certain decisions? Why have we made certain choices over the last few years? And, again, no judgment, but maybe to contemplate some of those questions is important at this time to help bring an awareness and a resolution to what was our blueprint that we came in with and what do we possibly need to transform? Where are we not being sovereign? Because if we're going to be new earth beings in 5D, sovereignty is part of it. And even things that we've learnt, or been given really to learn, such as codependency in relationships and partnerships, these are all things that need to be looked at because they're preventing us from being sovereign. And a lot of it is actually not as difficult as it sounds. It's just a reframing of how we look at things from a non-dual perspective where there is no good, there is no bad, there just is. And in my experience, as I've shared before, I feel like the light is always working through every situation. It just depends whether we can take a perspective that allows us to see that. One of the major parts of the Rainbow Bridge is, as I just said, is working with intention. And here the intention is to become ready to be a vessel, to be a channel, to receive the blueprints of our higher self that we have created for ourselves so that we get to experience all of this in the most beneficial ways for ourselves. And as this great epoch comes to an end and a new one begins, the age of Aquarius is upon us already, and certainly since Pluto made that brief ingress into Aquarius over the last few months, for sure, many of us have been experiencing elevated consciousness, downloads, and more. Many people, including us and many others, have been wanting to share that information to try and help others to cross the Rainbow Bridge. Now, what is the Rainbow Bridge? Well, I'm just going to point you towards Norse traditions. It's called the Bifrost Bridge. But really, the way that I have worked with this energy or symbology for many years is the Rainbow Bridge is the connection from here to here. It's dressed up in mythology, and again, if you read the Norse traditions, a very interesting adjunct to what is going on right now is the story of Ragnarok, which could also be another way of looking at the process that we're all in from a more spiritual, symbolic perspective. So that really, I think, is most of what I'd like to share today. Just again to wrap up, the 13-day journey is a shamanic process of inwards reflection, detoxing, cleansing, meditations, and actually most of all creativity and dreaming. And again, for those who have had some of the offered medications over the last few years, the very end part of that journey will be a ceremony to journey back to yourself, to re-embody your soul back fully into its 3D vehicle, otherwise known as our body. So that's it. That's the journey, folks. If you have any more questions, please do check out some of the associated videos. So like I said, definitely recommend checking out the video with Becca. Hopefully this video is going to answer lots of people's questions. I've already had quite a few emails from people asking many of the things I've shared on here. So hopefully this little video will help with all of that. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you either on the Rainbow Bridge journey or maybe the pathway with the Stellar Nations, or maybe you just want to come over and check out our tribe at quantumplanthealing.com. We have a huge tribe now that's grown over the last year or so and is free to join, and there are many other interesting workshops and plant work that you can also partake of there. So thank you everybody for listening. Enjoy this wonderful full moon that I'm filming this on, and just keep it empty and keep it creative, as we say here at Quantum Plant Healing, because that's the best way to enjoy the energies that are coming onto the planet right now that we can really work with. So peace out, everybody. See you next time. Ciao for now.